Hi, everybody. It's Michael D'Imperio from Steelyard, and welcome to the latest edition of Airstream Academy. I'm here today with Mrs. Audi, the CEO of Stickley Furniture, and our topic is talking about a legacy brand who's been around for 122 years. I almost couldn't get that out. And thinking about what that means, legacy, evolution, and what it means today to the current world of design. So that's our topic. Mrs. Audi, thank you so much for joining me this morning.
Thank you, Michael.
We only have 122 years of history to cover, so we're going to try to do this in 10 minutes, but that's a lot to talk about. So I want to start with, a brief overview about Stickley, right? So obviously, the legacy of the brand rests on sustainability, being connected to nature and natural things like wood, right? And when I first walked your showroom at High Point Market, I was blown away. Just absolutely blown away. It'd be the first time I saw your collections in person, but there's a lot to cover in terms of where you've come from and where you are today. So let's talk a little bit about the history. If we look back at 122 years, can you share with us some of the values about Stickley, the things that have really permeated the brand for all of that time?
Well, first, thank you, Michael. It's a pleasure to see you again, and thank you for all you do for the industry as well. Obviously, 122 years is a very long time and has a lot of staying power. And a lot has changed since it was first started by two brothers, Leopold and John George Stickley, but a lot remains constant. So let me talk a little bit about what remained constant that gives us that staying power. And I would say first and foremost is the enduring quality of Stickley. This is not disposable furniture we're talking about. We're talking about furniture that is passed from generation to generation. We are now furnishing the fifth generation of Americans who are surrounding themselves with Stickley furniture that they celebrate all the special occasions in people's lives. They give wedding presents of Stickley. When a child is born, they give a Stickley rocker. And so that enduring quality is one of the most important things that I would say remains constant and enables Stickley to continue to thrive and grow. The second, go ahead and interrupt me if you want to.
Oh, I'm focused on something you said, right? Because you think about the stories of furniture, right? And I think personally for you, there's a story, in the history of Stickley about your son sleeping in the same Stickley bed that your husband had too, right? And passed through the generations of Stickley furniture. That's personal to you, not just, for other people. That piece was passed through your family and means something.
It indeed does, and it was part of the reason how we got to buy Stickley, because my father-in-law was a friend of Leopold Stickley and one of the largest Stickley dealers. And Leopold Stickley used to have a birthday party every year where his dealers will come from all over the country. And it was my father-in-law who would always give the keynote speech and say to the other dealers that they owed it to the American public to teach them about quality construction and beautiful finishes. And if they do, they will inevitably buy Stickley. And he sold a lot of Stickley, but he romanced the product and he loved the product. And my husband grew up sleeping in a Stickley bed, and which my son grew up in and is now in the Stickley Museum. But then he also went to Colgate University and his fraternity was furnished with Stickley. And he knew what fraternities do to furniture. So I've always kidded him and said, anything that survived your youth had to be good, so you had to buy the company.
But I think that's the takeaway right there, that your furniture can last in a fraternity house. That's
And the other thing that I would say along the lines of enduring quality, not only does it withstand fraternity use, but it survived the Northridge earthquake. Years ago when the Northridge earthquake happened, so much was destroyed. And Furniture Today on the front cover showed a picture of our dealer at the time and the tall spindle chair in front of the showroom and it was intact. There wasn't a single spindle that was ruined. And it was one of the very few pieces of furniture that was not destroyed. So it's furniture that is made to last. I don't want to belabor the point, but that's why it is passed from generation to generation, and it is cherished. I have a friend who gives a Stickley rocker to each one of her godchildren, and she has 7 so far. So, but the other quality is timeless design. Many people think of Stickley as arts and crafts, and I am very proud of our contribution to the arts and crafts movement and to that of Gustav and Leopold Stickley as the pioneers in this country. But we're a lot more than that. Our designs keep evolving and changing, and to meet the way people live. Obviously, during COVID nowadays, we realize that home is a very important aspect of people's lives. People are discovering how important their home furnishings are and the pieces they surround themselves with. And so we are very mindful of the changing needs of the people and how they live. And so our timeless designs, they are classic in many ways. So they're not trendy, but they are timeless. And that's something that people can relate to and can enjoy and can celebrate and cherish.
I think that's an important note, Mrs. Audi, as you walk through your showroom at High Point, right? You see the evolution from arts and crafts into some of the more modern collections that you have today. And I wonder, for the younger designers coming into the industry and meeting Stickley for the first time, they may have only read about arts and crafts in some of their history books, right? That really was the core of the Stickley brand, but you've evolved. So take me through, again, recognizing how important the arts and crafts movement was to your foundation. Take me through some of the evolution and what the collections have evolved into today in terms of that timeless design you speak of.
Well, I mean, obviously, many people who study the history of design realize that the arts and crafts movement was very prevalent from the 1900 to about 1917. And there were some arts and crafts pieces made into the 20s, but for all purposes, 1916, 17, public taste started changing and interest in arts and crafts waned. At that point, Gustav Stickley had filed for bankruptcy, actually, and Leopold Stickley was very innovative, and he was very tuned into the needs of the people and shifted from arts and crafts into colonial furniture, or what is known as early American, or as he coined it, the Cherry Valley collection. And to a lot of generations, actually, who grew up with Stickley, when you say Stickley, they think of the Cherry Valley collection. As a matter of fact, Marshall Field in Chicago had the first trend house that was Stickley. And some of the pieces are still made today that were made in the late 20s and early 30s. So that really had a lot of staying power. It was made of solid cherry, unlike the arts and crafts, it was made primarily of quarter sawn white oak. And it was very easy to live with. After that, following the Cherry Valley, we also had a licensing agreement with the Williamsburg Foundation to reproduce some of the finest pieces that are found in their museum. And we have some of those pieces in our own museum in Fayetteville as well. And that was I would say the Williamsburg pieces are elegant pieces, beautifully executed, and are made to last, like most of our furniture as well. And then we reissued Mission in 1989. Now, interest, as we all know, actually, in design, like anything else, there are the ups and downs, there are the peaks and valleys. And so Mission peaked in the early 20th century, and then it waned. And then in 1989, we reissued it, and it created quite a sensation, I would say. There wasn't a shelter magazine in this country that did not cover it. And I will never forget the first headline that said, "The revival of the fittest." And the New York Times said it's brand new, but it's authentically Stickley. Authentic is a word I really love because I think that describes what Stickley is. And then we continue to evolve in terms of design, and we'll get a little later. I know that a little later you have some questions about our newer designer, but I do want to go back to something else also about some of the things that has enabled us to stay in business and thrive. In addition to the quality and the timeless design, we are a very sustainable company. We've been building furniture that doesn't end up in a dumpster. It is something solid. We're very mindful of our footprint. We're mindful of the waste factors. We heat our factory here by wood shavings. We have been recycling ever before recycling became fashionable. We've been green before it was fashionable to be green. And we were the first company in the country to pay our people to quit smoking, being mindful of their own well-being and their health. And we believe that healthy employees are productive employees, but we invest in the well-being of our employees as well.
You care deeply about what you all are doing, not just with furniture, but the legacy you've built. And the phrase that comes to mind, Mrs. Audi, is what's old is new again, right? You mentioned that with the headline in the shelter magazines, but sustainability is a buzzword. It's a buzzword right now, right? It's a big word in the industry. You've been doing that since 1900. Sustainability has always been core to what you do. And I love that. And I think our viewers will laugh that I usually ask a lot of questions and really drive the conversation. And I'm kind of sitting back and listening to you because there's so much history here that just makes me excited for what Stickley is today. And I mentioned when I came to your showroom, the thing that got me was the quality's there, obviously, but the curves on the pieces today were mind-blowing. It was just beautiful to walk into some of the modern collections and see the curves and the quality of the woodwork. Tell me about the effect that Marissa Brown has had on the brand in terms of her new design, the Park Slope collection and others, and that almost feminism to some of the work that she's done. Take us through that.
Well, I am delighted that Marissa has joined our team, and she joins the most talented team in the industry. And before I talk about Marissa, I want to talk a little bit about the team she is joining. We have here, this is, I mean, obviously, this is furniture made in the US, but it's made by people from all over the world. We have 38 nationalities who work here as a result of our work with the Refugee Resettlement Program, something I am so very proud of, because I always say I am proud of the furniture we build, but I am even more proud of the people who build the furniture and who contribute to the economy. And for me, one of the greatest joy is to see people who begin with very little, who now contribute to the growth of Stickley, to their communities, who send their children to school, and who are very productive members of our community. So Marissa, as an incredible, very talented designer, joins a very talented team who enable her who execute her vision and her beautiful design. She joined our company in 2018, but it really felt, after having her here for only 6 months, it felt as though Marissa grew up at Stickley and with Stickley, because she has such a regard for the Stickley DNA. And when she designs with that in mind, with a reverence and respect for the past, but with an outlook towards the present and the future. And she brings a very feminine outlook. Obviously, she's a very skilled designer. She's a graduate of the Rhodes School of Interior Design, and her sensibilities are so evident. She looks at something, she looks, for example, at the arts and crafts and really appreciates what arts and crafts stand for and represents, but she takes it and makes it a little bit more delicate. Like the Park and Slope has an incredible curves to it. This was her first collection and already is the winner of an award. and she tends to lighten the pieces and bring a fresh perspective and a modern outlook as well. Because following Park Slope, she introduced the Walnut Grove, which is made out of walnut, a beautiful, beautiful collection, more of a Scandinavian, mid-century modern, light, airy, with a lovely finish. And that too immediately enjoyed the acceptance of the dealers and the customers, and is really a home run. It reminded me of the first time we introduced Mission. That was how much excitement there is. So Marissa's edition is a feather in our cap, and I think she will say she found a home, and we are looking forward to having her for many, many more years. And she's working on a great new introduction for this April market, but she's already had 4 different collections. Each one is a home run. So I'm thrilled to have Marissa on our team and look forward to more contributions in the future.
Good. Well, I'm going to have the chance to talk to her as well and have a chat with her and hear about her design. So we don't want to give away too much, but she's truly amazing. Now I'm going to get in trouble because we could talk all day, and I know I promised 10 to 15 minutes. So tell me what you want to tell them. Tell the design world, tell the designers that are being introduced to Stickley for the first time. You love working with the design trade. You work well with designers. You have a trade program. What do they need to know about Stickley? What's the one thing that they should walk away with and say, I must go see them at High Point Market in April. I have to see what Michael's talking about with the curves and the quality and the wood. What's the one thing they need to take away from this chat about Stickley?
Don't pigeonhole Stickley as merely arts and crafts, because that's what I think many people know us for. I am very proud of our contribution to arts and crafts and what we do. Because as you know, it was a rebellion against the excesses of the Victorian era. So arts and crafts are solid and beautiful and simple and sturdy. But we're a lot more than arts and crafts, or as many people call it, mission. We're a lot more than mission. So we're mission, but we're a lot more. So our designs are very versatile. There is something for everyone. You can find beautiful designs to fit any lifestyle. And we're not only case goods. We make upholstery as well. And we have beautiful silhouettes. We have exquisite fabrics. And then we make it easy to work with the designers. Our To the Trade program is relatively new, and we actually have a special concierge to work with them. We have easy online payments. They can navigate our website and realize that they can help their clients furnish their dream homes with a lot more than mission. If they choose mission, they will not be disappointed. But if their taste takes them into mid-century modern, into traditional, there is something for everyone. And the other, I want them to realize that there is a perception that Stickley may be expensive, but it's a great value. Because when you consider the sustainability issue, the fact that it lasts for more than 100 years, it makes it the best that money can buy. So in addition to being very fine quality with very many versatile designs, they also know that it's a fabulous investment that improves with age.
I think that's a perfect summation of who you are as a brand and what our designers need to know. Don't pigeonhole Stickley. That's the takeaway today, right? You can come and you can see the history and the legacy and the sustainability and the quality, but there is something for everyone. And I think that, Mrs. Audi, is the thing that I noticed when I was in the showroom, is the evolution of the brand fits today. There's something that used to be used for one purpose can now be used for work from home or the new environments of the world, because your pieces are so versatile, but they're of such high quality that they can be passed through generations, just like your son's been. And that's an incredible story about who Stickley is. So I thank you for your time. I'm hopeful that all of our designers, all of our members of Steelyard will come and see you at High Point Market in April. I know I will be there, and I will be touring the showroom with your concierge team, as I always do, to learn more about you and the brand. But thank you for your time. Thank you for your contributions to the industry. Thank you for keeping a legacy brand alive and evolving it to meet the needs of all designers in this space. I'm so grateful to have this time with you.
Thank you, Michael. I would also add one more thing, that the fact that we are a family-owned business makes it also very special, because we care about the legacy we want to leave to the next generation.
It's clear and it comes across, and I'm just so thankful that you are still doing what you do. So thank you so much. And everybody else that is listening today, please make sure you stop by Stickley at High Point Market, see what they're doing. Don't pigeonhole Stickley, and know that you will have something that can be passed from generation to generation because of their quality, because of their craftsmanship, and because of their commitment to sustainability. Thanks so much, Mrs. Audi.
Thanks, Mike. See you in High Point.